we now return to the unending Ace Attorney's Chronicles. What's this all about? I've forgotten your voice, sir. Why have I been called up again? Do you realize that it's dinner time for little baby Ido? When my son's belly is empty, he's fiercer than a pack of wolves. Exploited by the police we were. Like miserable dogs forced to bear false witness. And when cast from this courtroom, I became a ruined man in a trice. A worthless, withered antique. Nothing more have I to say. The sun is set on this Raste shop's owner's existence. Be that as it may, Kurakura-san, something has come to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Raste memory serves, have you ever... What? Yes, that's it! Is that in his boot? The very one! The very exact one that it is! The resplendent, splendiferous Hoei treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day. It can't be. Masaka. As I thought. Young man, enlighten this decrepit old fool. Put me out of my misery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped? Oh, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beefsteak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat juices. Sandwiched? Soaking? Seriously? Clearly it couldn't have fallen there by accident, which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose. Somebody concealed my Hoei treasure? Between a slab of meat and a metal plate? Who would do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing? I'm gonna have to say who it was one time. Excuse me. Could I say something? Yes, of course. Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I mentioned this. Oh, is this a moment where I can move the thing? He's looking awful nervous. I mentioned this earlier on in the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case. Yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation. The Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected. So that's why you were sent in undercover, is it? I apologize. Yes, I took on the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. So unbeknownst to us, there's a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. Didn't Colonel What's-His-Face? Wasn't he an antiques dealer? Or a collector? There's a master thief at work. The place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Kurakura-san's Koban is all too clear. Nani? Nani? I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us, who is the despicable scoundrel that stole Kurakura-san's Koban and hid it under the steak? So one of two possibilities. I think what we're seeing here is that What's-His-Face was trying to steal it, and then the plates got swapped. Or is it simpler that he, Dr. John Wilson, who came here regularly, was going to steal it, and she was going to steal it from him? I mean, The blood thing could have easily just been cleaned up. But given that they actually tried to present it as a thing that could still possibly be going, it is possible that the plates were swapped. But since so far we only know that I mean, I think this would be a sneaky thing here. But I'm going with my hunch that the plates were swapped, which would mean that Ieyasu Nosa here would have put it under the plate. There would have been blood on the thing. He would have done some quick thinking and swapped the plates. Well, we're giving shots at it, so why not try it? Obviously. It can only be you, Mr. Sweaty Bunches. Sergeant Ieyasu Nosa. What? How dare you, you monster! Monster? I stole that koban, did I? I'm the master thief of La Carnival, am I? Carne is the pun there, for the meat. You seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet? But it wasn't me. It was Ido! Ido is the mastermind behind all this. Someone take a screenshot and make that a GIF. Or a reaction image for my Discord or something. Or Twitch. You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son, an innocent little baby? It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa. Oh, he's gonna turn into Waluigi. Clippity cloppity, clippity cloppity. He did. Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Ieyasu Nosa, preparing to stand down in the Supreme Court, sir. I wish I'd been giving him the Waluigi voice the whole time if I'd known that's where it was going to go. Do any of you know of the extraordinarily low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays those it expects to keep our country safe? I'm giving him a completely different voice now. I understand that a temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place. Recently ended conflicts. So, after the first Sino-Japanese War, or after the Russo-Japanese War? And I have heard it's hard to lower ranking soldiers to make a living, yes? Oh, wow, I put wrong inflection on all of that. And I've heard that it's hard for lower ranking soldiers to make a living, yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son. That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant? The place is heaving with money. Every 3 days, I'd go there and do reconnaissance for a target. And I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak at the same time. Sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork even, which worryingly believable. And your target that day was the old man in his koban? Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all. How'd it end up under the steak, then? A veritable phantom thief you are. I was all set to leave the steak I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Yes, when the professor was shot. I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. Ido, too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could, on the double. I slipped it under the steak, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date, because they don't apparently clear the table and wash the dishes in this restaurant. It was 3 days! 3 days! This is ridiculous. Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time? Well, Miss Brett. Of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May the esteemed gentlewoman please be excused, Your Excellency. Indeed. The theft of the koban was clearly perpetrated by... That's not the trial! By this baby-saddled sergeant. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder. Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Nonsense, is it? And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Very well. Now that all questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave. Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone. And good day. Ryunosuke, what's the matter with you? This is no time for daydreaming. Oh, no, it's just... something about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. Can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred me. What did she just say? And good day. Good luck and good day. Good day? Paul Harvey? I feel like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up. If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard. Sorry? You can think later, but if you don't call out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over. Hold it! How long is this game? Wait, Miss Brett. What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time. There's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just a few moments ago. What are you talking about? What contradiction? What new student nonsense is this? Well, what parting words are you talking about, Ryunosuke? Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork... Is that bitten into the same way? It's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. I'm going to need to see evidence, counsel. If Miss Brett's words truly are contradictory, where is the evidence to prove it? Take that! The photographic print of the scene taken immediately after the incident occurred? What's interesting is the plate of steak that you can see on the victim's table. The steak that Miss Brett has been eating before the professor was killed. Yes, go on. More accurately, Your Excellency, the steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed. Now you're just splitting hairs. Not true. Doesn't something about this steak strike you as very unnatural? Unnatural? What on earth do you mean? It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. Ah? I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett. Noticed what exactly, counsel? Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could even contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork. Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself. Then take a good look at this steak, in particular the edge where it's been eaten. As you can see, There are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there. Ah, oh. It looks like Miss Brett has realized something. So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all. But what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry and couldn't... Oh, whatever you say, dear lady. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer. Of course. This will all be over in the blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. Just leave it... I've heard enough. You irritating little spectacled samurai relic. Of course. Dear lady! What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers? Where's the breeze coming from that is constantly having his... Is it like some Dragon Ball Z energy, ki, I guess it would be ki, making his headband wave? Clearly the witness knows what this means. She's realized the catastrophic implications these teeth marks in the steak have for her. Ryunosuke, do you know where you're going with this? Yes. Now, at last, it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in the steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the bloodstain I know I saw somehow seems to have disappeared. And most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day. I accept that these teeth marks in the steak are a little unnatural. I mean, they're teeth, they're perfectly natural, as you put it, counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us? Everything, Your Excellency. Everything? Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson. Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't... Yeah, really, no kidding. Like, I've felt that way too. We've ended and restarted another tangent like 5 or 6 times by now. You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase, typical Japanese empty threats. How can you be so sure? Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago. Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet. Hasn't been what? But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist.
Objection!
This is absurd. The trial has run several hours already. Tell me about it. And you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? There can't be. I don't believe you have it. I don't. But there's someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. Him? And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case. Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. Who possesses the conclusive evidence that will reveal the truth about this whole affair? It's gotta be him, right? When he switched the plates? I mean, I get 4 chances. The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga. Huh? I have it. Yes. You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's ridiculous. No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on this steak with the teeth marks. Yes. Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak. And, as well as admitting to stealing Korakura-san's coin, he told us that he slipped it under the steak. You watch it, cadet. I'm a superior officer. They're all having this voice for some reason. Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the steak that you put the coin under In fact, your own steak.
Attention! Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentle lady if she'd mind me manhandling her meal to hide something in it.
In other words, the steak that the detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal.
Attention!
But that makes no sense. The plate was taken from the victim's table.
Attention!
Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal the coin. Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire. Yes, because the British are well known for not taking things from other countries. Well then,
How do you explain this paradox?
exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest that the sergeant switched the two steaks over. Not the sergeant, no.
Nani?
What? You did switch the plates? Well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my steak and hid the coin underneath it. But when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I'd had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. Why would he investigate your slab of meat? I'd be getting my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. With military precision and timing, I switched my steak with the one on the foreign lady's table. What? You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing. It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what had to be done. Unbelievable. However, fear not, Prosecutor-san. What now? I swear on the brass buttons of my uniform. That is all I did, sir. All you did? That's plenty, Sergeant.
Yes!
So, if Sergeant Nosa switched the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak, and the plate it was on, back to his own table. Yes, that follows. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's. That to preserve evidence, you had taken both. That's correct. Then please present it to the court now. The plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot.
Shut up!
What can that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat? It can't have the slightest bearing on the case.
Objection!
No, you're not wriggling your way out of this time. Out of it this time. A very, very dramatic line that I just bungled. You're not wriggling your way out of it this time, lady. I beg your pardon? Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why this steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you? No? You're the ones who decided it was a problem, not me. The reason the defense asked to see the plate was to confirm something the defendant remembers seeing. Thinks he remembers. I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. On the side of the plate that was on the table directly behind Dr. Wilson, there was a clear spattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. And now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate you were eating from, Miss Brett.
Let us not prolong this any further. Inspector, you will show the evidence to the court. Present the beefsteak and plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident. Yes, sir. Sorry for keeping you. Here's the other steak and its plate. Please feel free to examine it. The bloodstain is clearly visible.
Yes!
Look! Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that at the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table, with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim.
It can't be.
In fact, there's only one person who could possibly have shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. That's right. Miss Giselle Brett. It's you. Omaeda.
Outdone by a Japanese... Me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No. No. No! The Black Swan. Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me.
Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what exactly happened that day. The truth, this time.
Gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the professor's life using curare. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning. So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water. Because curare is unheard of here in Japan. Yes. Of course, I had never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water, and it would all be over. I would place the steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he had been dining alone. And I'd leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table. That would be me, I suppose. Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you'd decided to come over to greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point, so I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment. A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on an innocent man. I happened to know that the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of curare in my handbag, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt. Under your skirt? So I was right. There were two guns. Yes. And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor, placed where you were sure that I would notice it. And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I'd intended. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up,
That's when you shot the professor with your own gun. Even though at that point he was already dead.
Naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared.
Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside. That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor and his chair around. Because, of course, you needed to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he'd picked up the gun.
So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Your Excellency?
Yes?
I wonder, might I speak with you in private later?
I shall call on you.
Thank you. Good day then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san.
She was a ghost all along. It would seem this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement?
This can't be. Takatsuchi Aochi does not lose. Not to the likes of this rookie student.
You'd better start getting used to tough opposition.
Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Yes?
This insult to the Aochi family name will never be forgotten. You've become conceited with age, Counsel, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. A 1,000 millennia may pass, and still, the Aochi clan will never measure up to the Naruhodo clan. This trial, in the Supreme Court of Japan, will, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, presented an excellent case. Thank you, Your Excellency. The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern methodology. After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to the wider world. But the Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here, especially the trains. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new future of law awaits, but what it will look like, I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Kazuma Sogi. Yes? After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can, absorb everything of the wider world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. I understand, Your Excellency. What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden? Never mind. As for you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Yes?
In you, I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onwards. Thank you, Your Excellency. It is time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, not guilty. This court is now adjourned. 46. Supreme Court of the Judicature, which is a strange name I will never get used to. I can't believe it. I can't believe what's happened. I made it! I defended myself and made it through that horrendous trial. Ryunosuke, you finally pulled it off. Congratulations. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma. Ha ha ha. Ho 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 ho. No, it was a pleasure to watch you at work. So, you owe me an extra large sukiyaki from the place on Yume University Street. Don't forget. Good afternoon. All your hard work has certainly paid off. Oh.
Good afternoon. Congratulations to both of you for proving Naruhodo-san's innocence.
Ah, our trusty judicial assistant. We worked hard for that result too, you know.
Oh no, I didn't do anything. Thank you so much. If we hadn't had that research report of Miss Brett's, I don't know how things would have turned out. Your kind words should really be for my father. I was simply doing as he asked. It was his idea for me to go to the university and investigate.
Your father? Ah, yes, of course.
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, judicial assistant to the defense. Are we really supposed to be expected to have forgotten everybody's name at this point? Speaking of Mikotoba...
Ah, there you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Naruhodo, you did an excellent job.
Thank you, Professor.
Oh, no, it was I who should be thanking you. After all, your efforts exposed the true criminal that took the life of my good friend.
Good friend?
Oh, yes. You mentioned that before.
It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to Yume University, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Professor Mikotoba studied overseas himself. He went, to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably, that's when you met Dr. Wilson?
Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital.
Oh, you worked together?
I've never heard you mention that before. Well, it was a long time ago now. Besides, it's your turn, Asogi. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world. In science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course, in law. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot. I will. I'll learn all that I can. I swear on this, the spirit of the Asogi clan.
You're not taking the sword to Great Britain, are you?
Of course I am. A Japanese man's katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go. And cuts down anything that's in my way.
Yes, I've definitely seen how sharp it is already with my own eyes. That reminds me, what happened to the woman?
To Giselle Brett, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder. Ah, yes, her. It's not easy to tell you this, but...
What do you mean? Surely she's going to face trial herself now. She's the true culprit, after all.
She will be leaving Japan in the very near future. For Shanghai.
What?
Shanghai? Giselle Brett will not appear in court again in this country. I'm certain of that.
What? But why not?
It's a matter of consular jurisdiction. Who is this? Inspector Hosonaga.
It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch. I must congratulate... what is all this about consular jurisdiction? We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan. What? We can't try her? But then who? Who's going to bring her to justice?
A British consular court will hear her case, somewhere far away where our voices can't be heard.
Surely that would be Hong Kong, not Shanghai. But why a consular court?
Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought consular courts were a thing of the past now that we've signed the friendship treaty. Yes, in normal circumstances, you're right. Then, so long as this is not a serious incident of a highly political nature to our respective governments, they can't invoke a consular court just like that. No, can't they? Yes, she's a student, but it doesn't justify our governments making secret arrangements about her fate, does it? Something strange is going on. So, Miss Brett can't be held accountable for her actions here in Japan. I'm afraid that for the young student, today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There was never any danger of comeuppance for her. I don't believe it. The British government's Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded that we hand over custody of Miss Brett. They're obviously taking this case of a foreign student committing murder very seriously. But it's all going to change from now on. We can make it change. This is at a time of great turmoil, this new era heralded by the start of the 20th century. One day, I have no doubt, that woman will receive the judgment she deserves. Yes, change is coming, and we're the ones driving it. Well, I think that's enough seriousness for now. This evening calls for a celebratory drink. But, Professor... You're right, this is no time for gloomy faces. We should be celebrating Ryunosuke's not guilty verdict. Let's start having some fun. In that case, might I suggest Le Carnaval? Absolutely not. As the head waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink. You're a detective, Hozanagi-san, aren't you? Let's not worry about details for now. To Le Carnaval. Will you accompany us, Professor? Of course. Le Carnaval's food is second to none. I shall go and attend to the paperwork for Naruhodo-san's release. Oh, yes, thank you. So, Giselle Brett won't be tried here. I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. Something tells me that's not true at all. Kazuma. Yes, Ryunosuke. I just wanted to say thanks again, that's all. You really saved my skin today. I didn't do a thing. You were the lawyer in there, weren't you? That defense was all your own work. Your skills made the difference, though. One day I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world. I'm not so sure about that. To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. I couldn't help thinking that maybe you're the one destined to be a great lawyer, not me. What? Come on, don't be serious. Be serious. If I helped you today, it was only right at the very start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for it, for being a defense lawyer, I mean. Oh, no, not me. All that tense verbal combat? I never want to go through that ever again. I did what you told me to do, that's all. Because I knew I could trust you. That's the point. Sorry? What do you mean, that's the point? Listen, Ryunosuke. Do you know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win? Knowledge of the law? No. The ability to believe. To believe? To believe what? In the heart of the cards. A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe in them at all times. Small aside, the Phoenix Wright games were clearly inspired by American defense lawyer Perry Mason. Perry Mason being a fictional character who, aside from having a TV show in the 50s, was also a series of novels, some of which I have read from the 30s. And there's like 2-3 dozen books? More? I don't remember how many more. There's a lot. And basically it's the same thing where he basically gets his clients off with ridiculous Deus Ex Machina shit that just comes out of nowhere. They're entertaining, but anyway. Right. Like you believed in me when I said I didn't do it? I'm human, just like you. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth. But you have to make a choice about what to believe in and stick to it when you're defending someone. Sometimes in the courtroom, you can really be backed into a corner. But being able to remain faithful to what you chose to believe in even then, well, that's not something that anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person. Believing in your client. Just look at today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with precious little real experience, but you never stopped believing in me. Well, you faced seemingly hopeless situations time and again, but you never stopped looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it, through your own efforts, and because you never stopped believing in me. Thanks, Kazuma. There's something I want to ask you, actually, Ryunosuke. Well, it's a favor, really. Something very important to me. It sounds serious. What is... Ah, you're still here, are you? Inspector Hosonaga. Hosonaga. Have I been calling him Hosonaga this whole time? I don't even know. Hosonaga. I've arranged some rickshaws for us. Let's go. Thank you. We'll be right there. Let's pick up this conversation again later. We should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory. And your study tour to Great Britain, don't forget. Ah, yes, that too. From what I remember of the first Phoenix Wright, well, I won't spoil that. I might play those games later. But the parallels to the characters in the story here. So my very first trial came to an end. Kazuma. Professor Mikotoba. I never know where the inflection is in Japanese names. Tasoda and Inspector Hosonaga, who didn't really play much of a part, but still. It was because of the help and support of all these people that I managed to get through that trial. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life. Owari. Sure. Sure. So that was all this. Okay. So there are 5 episodes to this. As the Phoenix Wright games were. Holy crap. This is going to be a much longer series than I anticipated. If need be, I guess I will continue with longer-ish episodes, because trying to break this into 20 and 30-minute episodes as normal just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. But whatever. And this, I think this is just, the first game. Because like I said, I think this is a bundle that has 2 games in it. So, it's going to be a while. Anyway, I will see you next time.